Instead of braving the cold this year, I used my noggin and thought ahead. I figured I would film hobbyware.org labs in the fall this year. But believe me, by the time you read this, the city will be an icicle, and who wants to film an icicle, let alone be one? Am I right, or am I right? So the labs have changed in a big way this year, but not exactly the way I had it planned out. The plan was to move into a bigger place and create the lab bigger and better than it was before. Something like this. But no, 2 years in, I still can't sell the place I'm in, so this year I redesigned it. It is a little smaller than the lab I had previously, but allows me to do one thing I couldn't do last year. And that thing is a hell of a lot of fun to do, I tell you what. It's kind of got me going punch, punch, duck, and kick.
I won't embarrass myself by trying to play VR and talk to the camera at the same time. It just doesn't work well. Trust me, I tried it already. This is what I got set up for the VR space. As you can see, this is where my lab used to be, and with the gaming computer on that side and the programming computer on this side. I'm using the Vive Pro. I quite like the little bit of extra resolution this thing puts out compared to the standard Vive. I got the VR base station set up in each corner of the room, and they are on tripods so that they are movable and I don't have to drill holes into the walls. There are some tripods out there especially for this sort of application available on Amazon, which I'm thinking about getting. They reach about 7 or 8 feet high, so I wouldn't have to be putting them up on furniture to get them to reach above head height. The lab is in that corner over there, and since I'm tethered to and don't have a wireless headset, the positioning of the computer is very important. As you will see further in the video, the computer is right next to the exit there and allows just enough length for the cable to reach all areas of the play space. While I'm not working on hobbyware.org, this provides an entertaining diversion.
So let's move into the lab area of my setup. Here is a mock-up I created a few months before building out the new space. I designed this portion in SketchUp and was able to get everything placed just right before actually setting up the lab. Now let's see the real version of the lab, and I will take you on a tour. So we'll start in this corner of the lab this year. MakerBot Replicator. It's a good 3D printer, but I find it to be quite expensive. I just replaced the extruder on that and it costs $300, which is not a small price tag to pay. I would recommend something a little bit cheaper. This is a particularly nice looking one. You can get ones that are more utilitarian for a lot cheaper and they'll do just as good a job. In the top corner there you'll see a project that I made some time ago, which is blue and red mana and health potion. Just thought it would be a cool idea for gaming, and you can see that it lights up and lights up the walls and stuff like that, and it turns on and off. We'll move over to this section of the lab here. You can see I got this second-hand monitor from work, just one that we're giving away at work, so I thought I'd take one. It's good for hooking up Raspberry Pis and stuff. This isn't connected to the main programming computer, but it should just run a Raspberry Pi or maybe an extra computer just when you need to program it or do whatever. Behind the monitor, we have Netgear hard drive bay. This is a NAS, and it basically just does all my backups. I just replaced this year. The other one was failing all the time, and it turned out that it was just
piece of garbage, basically, is what I bought originally. So it needed a replacement. It would not stay connected to the network, and it was running a really older distro of Linux on there. This one has similar features in that you can open it up and just pull out the hard drive bay. It is hot swappable, so again, if there is a fire in the house, I can just run over here, grab the hard drive, pull it out, and I can be out with all my data if the place burns down, which I hope it never does. But it's always good to be safe. Second thing over here, and we'll just, it's hidden behind the monitor, so we'll move this over. It's just a 3D printed roll holder, so I don't have to buy the expensive MakerBot filament. It's much cheaper to buy it from third-party vendors, and because it's from a third-party vendor, it won't fit in the back of the MakerBot up here in the normal spool holder. So I eventually had to make a new roll holder, and that's just one I found on Thingiverse and works pretty good. So we'll move over to this portion of the lab. In this portion of the lab, I upgraded the monitors this year. I had several of these in previous years, just the ones that I had taken from work, and I had two more on the far sides. The center monitor is an old gaming monitor I had, and I just reused. It's 1440p, so it does the trick for giving you lots of screen space, lots of real estate to work with when you're programming and stuff. You can get long lines of code and kind of examine the code better that way with 1440p. The monitors on the sides are the ones I bought this year. They were priced in around $180 a piece. Fairly cheap for a monitor. It's 1080p rather, on each side, but it is definitely an upgrade from the 1024p monitors. So it gives me a lot more vertical real estate to work with, and programming and just working with the computer is a lot more easier. $20 is what I spent on the mouse and keyboard, and I guess another important aspect is the old gaming headset that I use. It's very important, and the most important part is the microphone, because I need to record short scenes where I do voiceovers and what such. It's for the videos I make on hobbyware.org. I'm thinking about upgrading the microphone in future years. It doesn't quite have the quality that I'm looking for. I feel that maybe a standalone mic, something a little more expensive, might be worth upgrading in the future. So maybe that'll come around in the next time. And the last part of the desktop here is a stack of post-it notes, because you need post-it notes. I go through these things like crazy. I'm always writing down little notes, something that I need for 10 seconds, and then the pen holder that allows me to write those notes. Underneath the desk is the computer I've been using for some time now. It's still works good, does exactly what I need it to do. I was running out of hard disk space, so I used some old hard drives from my gaming computer, my old gaming computer, and I put it in RAID 0,
and then put it in, and it gave me a lot more space. I believe I'm now have 2 terabytes of space, so that goes a long way when you're storing videos because of the size of videos. And as you can see, this area of the computer needs a lot of cable management. You can actually see the cable management arm that I have failed to use in the top there, just under the desk, but maybe we'll clean that up here in the future. This portion of the lab is not really part of what I do to make things on hobbyware.org. This is where I spend my relaxation time. I keep a secondary monitor on the side that is useful for just seeing statistics on the game I'm playing at the current time. And the center monitor there is 4K. Spent quite a bit of money on that. But a lot of people tend to prefer a cheaper, higher refresh rate monitor, something in like 144 hertz. It just depends which way you want to go, but I like the 4K. I wanted the resolution, and I'm okay with playing at 60 hertz, so that's fine with me. This is the purple pixel pusher. I call that because it pushes pixels pretty hard for that 4K monitor, and the graphics cards in it are two 1080 Ti's. You can see a full write-up about the purple pixel pusher in the PC building section. That's under the computers heading on hobbyware.org. But I keep some Sennheiser headphones. These are really good headphones. I've had them forever, and I have no plans to get rid of them anytime soon. They just do the job great, and well worth the money I paid for them. In the back, you can't see it, but a steering wheel that I used to play my racing games on. And if we shift over a little bit here, you can see the purple pixel pusher itself and the VR headset that I showed you earlier, which is always a good time. And that pretty much completes the room. There is a nice little tropical plant there. Yeah, that just kind of brings the room together, I feel. Thanks for taking the tour of my lab setup for 2019. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button to see what comes next out of hobbyware.org. You can also follow me on Twitter by using @terabyte13. Enjoy!